production behind me. Oh, great. Hi, everybody. Welcome in. Hello, hello. I am manning the waiting room, and I'm Jennifer from Amputee Aid, the host for Life Amplified. It is Wednesdays, 2 o'clock Eastern Time, and that means it's another time to get together for our weekly webinar, Life Amplified. We are having another of our Tiny Desk series. We cannot access our studio, so please bear with me. We're at my desk. If you don't know what Tiny Desk is, don't tell me. You'll break my heart. Just Google it. And some of your favorite musicians have done Tiny Desk concerts, and we're doing a makeshift Tiny Desk series for July's sessions of Life Amplified. So welcome in to all of our people who are joining us from Zoom. I'm going to watch the waiting room and let some folks in as we go along. I am in the waiting room, so I will do my best. We also have folks live on TikTok. Hi to our friends on TikTok behind the scenes. If you want to see the presentation and see our speakers, hop on over to Zoom. You can find the code on our page. It's completely free to join. Welcome to all of you. So, as I said, it is July, and it is our Hot Topics series. That is what we have coined July's themes for Life Amplified. As many of you know, there's some certain things that we'd like to do as we get started. First thing is introduce our theme, Hot Topics. We have had a lot of questions about phantom limb pain and phantom limb pain solutions. So as part of our Hot Topic series, we have Matt and Megan from Neuros. They're going to be here today and talk to us all about a solution through them for many of you for whom this might be appropriate. But we will save time at the end for questions and answers, feedback, and other advice from all of you in the limb loss and limb difference community about ways that you deal with phantom limb pain. So Matt and Megan, hang out for a moment. I'm going to introduce you all a little bit, but there are some other introductory things that we'd like to do as we get started. First is I'm going to try to say hi to everybody as they're coming in. I saw Shane in there too. Hi, Shane. Good to see you again. I saw Kayla in here. Welcome to all of our old friends. And welcome to our new friends as well. If you are new to Amputee Aid and Life Amplified, hello, I'm Jennifer. I'm our executive director. Nick is behind the screen. He's the little Amputee Aid logo. If you're joining us live on Zoom, you'll see him there. We are together manning the waiting room and also monitoring the chat. But this is a live and interactive conversation. If at any point in time you have a question, comment, feedback, something you want to share, interrupt. We love it when you interrupt, okay? But if you feel like, I was raised better than that, that's okay. You can raise your little emoji, put a question in the chat. If you don't want your voice on a recording, we will try to answer your questions in the chat as best we can too. Some of my regulars are already doing the next thing that I like to do. Thank you very much, Jeff, for getting us started. Tell us how you are, where you're coming to us from, and how the weather is in your area. Hi, Jeff. Thank you very much. Connecticut, very warm in Connecticut. Yes, it is very warm here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania as well. We're getting part of that heat wave. For those of you who have had meetings with me at my desk, it will not surprise you, though, that I do have my blanket. Okay, for those of you who have had meetings, you know I'm usually sitting here with this blanket. It is here, and I may still use it because although it's hot outside, it's freaking cold in here. Okay, I see the laughing emojis. Yes, some of you, if you know that gray blanket is with me no matter what time of year it is. I see it's warm and humid in West Virginia, Vegas. I bet it's hot in Vegas. Fort Worth. Yeah, yeah. And for our friends in Vegas, if you all didn't know, yesterday, Amputee Coalition came out with their save the date for their annual conference. Everybody get this? I see lots of people saying yes, because we have been waiting, and they are doing a fireside chat in Vegas again in March. Okay, we've got it on our page, check their page. We'll have more details about that, but everyone has been waiting to find out where you're going. You're going back to Vegas in 2027 for your conference. I see it's 90 and humid in Indiana. Yeah, Bree, absolutely. We're coming. Can we just hang out at your house? It's expensive. I love that hotel, but it's expensive. If you've got room, I'm small. I'll sleep on a cot. I love it. Kansas in the house. Hi to Kansas. Toronto. Yes, to our friends in Canada. Nice to see everybody here. And Cali as well. Oh, Bree said yes. Okay. This is on recording. Don't forget. That brings me to my next set of reminders. We are recording our webinar. So for those of you joining us live, I can see your faces. I can see your comments. But the recording will go onto YouTube. It will only show my face. It will show our speakers, but it will capture your voice. So don't worry about having your camera on or off. You can do either for our live conversation, but just know that the recording does capture voices. So if you have a question, comment, feedback, something like that, something you want to share, your voice will be captured if you speak it, and that will show up on YouTube as well as our social channels. Sometimes it can be heard on TikTok for our behind the scenes people, sometimes not, okay? If you're the kind of person who doesn't want to have your voice out there on the internet for everybody to hear, that's okay. Just put your comment or your question, feedback, whatever you want to share in the chat, and we will do our best to monitor that. Oh, thank you, Kim. Kim's sharing some stuff here about Empower Fest, which was the other thing we were all waiting to find out about. It's in September. Check the chat. If you don't have a chat access, go to our social media page. You'll see some stuff about Empower Fest as well. Third reminder for everyone is this is a safe space. It's supposed to be fun, but also educational and informational. If you have very specific personal things, because we are recording, now is probably not the time to discuss them if you are looking for one-on-one advice, right? So probably not the time to put your social security number out there. Okay, you catch my drift, because that's going to be out there for everyone else to hear. We want to be mindful of people's personal opinions, political persuasions, their path and their journey toward amputation, any trauma that they're bringing into this conversation. Just be aware when we're having this conversation of where everyone is at. It might not be the same place that you are, and we want to be sensitive to those things as we have our conversations. Amputee Aid is a 501c3 nonprofit. We serve folks all over the country, and by virtue of some of our friends in Canada, also in Canada, everything we do is completely free. So if you do have questions or more one-on-one conversations, if you're already a client, you know how to reach us. If you're not, you can go to our website, amputee-aid.com, click the little blue Get Help button, and we would be glad to connect with you and share some information and talk about how we can help you on a more one-on-one and a confidential basis. Okay, now that I did all that stuff with my director's hat on, let's talk about some fun things. And then I'm going to turn it over to Matt and Megan, who are going to talk to us today about their solution for phantom limb pain. Oh, thank you, Bree, for that. Okay, final thing. Can anybody guess? If you know me well, you know it's going to be, it starts with a G, a giveaway. All right. I committed to doing these all summer. And if you are new to our channel, go to YouTube. All of our recordings are there. You're going to find a bunch of topics of me talking about how my hobby is getting free stuff. Okay, that is true. And so we got some candle donations from Fontana Candle Company. These are super nice, right? They have wooden wicks in them. Okay. And I tried to, and it smells very good, but not annoying. I tried to weave it into the theme for summer hot topics. And so the one that we're giving away today is called Cozy Cabin. Okay. There, you see that there, Cozy Cabin. So somebody's going to win this candle. We're doing it a little bit differently this time because we are not in our studio. So I don't have helpers with me, and I am manning this side myself. So instead, those are good candles, right, Crystal? I have some more. We're going to do one here and then wait until the end of the month, everybody. We have a $200 blanket we're giving away. So stay tuned for that. But the candle today, okay, still a good thing. This time, in order to do the giveaway, we are going to wait until the end. So you got to be here until the end of our hour, around 3 o'clock Eastern time. And we're going to do a number guessing game. I'll write down the number. First person to put the number in the chat will win the candle. And hopefully we don't have anyone with any dexterity issues or typing issues. If that is the case, please let me know in some way. Send me a text or something so that we can make an accommodation. But I think everyone who's here can participate that way if you want to participate in our giveaway. So not to trivialize our conversation today because it's super important, but you know, like giving stuff away, so somebody's going to get a nice candle for summertime. All right, let's transition into the reason that we're really here today, and that is to talk about phantom limb pain solutions with Neuros. So Matt is with us, and we were connected with Matt. Hi, Matt. How are you today?
Hello, hello. Great to be
Hello.
here.
We were connected with Matt at Amputee Aid through a client who said, you gotta know more about Matt and this solution. And I'm like, oh, great. I love knowing about solutions. And within maybe 5 minutes of talking to Matt, I was already bugging him and asking him to come on to our webinar. He said yes. So thank you very much. Hopefully you will not regret it. I know you won't, but thank you very much for joining us. And you'll see
Absolutely.
Megan, his partner, is here as well. And Megan will be able to answer questions for all of you specific to this device and their company. Okay, so if you have questions, you might see Megan either popping up with an answer or answering your question in the chat. If it's a unique question one-on-one for you, she may ask for your contact information, or you can private message her on Zoom to share your contact information so Megan and Matt can follow up with you individually as well. Okay, so Matt, as we are getting set settled in. I know you have a presentation for us, but I would love if you could start out by telling us a little bit more about you and your company and then take it away and tell us everything we need to know.
Yeah, thank you so much. We're so glad to be here. It's a great opportunity. I want you guys to take away two things, from this call and from us. Our goal is we're here to educate you on the Altius today, and the second is obviously just to have that contact. Ways ways to reach us, ways to get a hold of us, and so if you want more information, we're going to make that easy access. So Neuros, just a quick background. It was really started in 2008, a long time ago, through Dr. John Snyder is our founder, and so through the years, through a lot of quest studies, kind of fast forwarding, we really got our start in 2024. So we commercially launched really in 20 well commercially launched last year. We got our FDA clearance in 2024 of March. So we're still in those infancy stages, but that being said, Neuros is the maker of the Altius. It is the first and only device that's FDA cleared, reimbursable for chronic post amputation pain in lower limb amputees. And so, again, just here to kind of give you some educational. I know there's might be some prosthetists on here as well, and so what our goal here for them is maybe to serve as a resource for them in the future. And so, if we could help you and your patients, and we're going to kind of discuss the pathways of that pain, and so that some of those advantageous points as well that can help you guys and your patients too. So I am going to share my screen. Make
Okay.
sure.
Did we give you permission to do that? Because I'm panicking. Matt, do you have the ability to share your screen or do we need to get you permission?
Uh, I do not see it.
Okay,
Yep,
hold
yep.
on,
There
everybody.
we
Uh-oh. Bad director option. Hold
go.
on. I'll get it for you. Nick, I might need your help doing this. I see myself as co-host. Hold on here, everybody. Hmm, We're gonna get it. We're going to get it. Okay.
Jennifer, I don't want to interrupt you or Matt, but I just want to shout out that we have our patient ambassador, Laura Amtower, on this call as well. And so
Perfect.
she will be giving
Hey,
some
Laura.
insight at the end of Matt's talk. So if you guys have questions specific to someone
Yes.
who uses our device, she'll be a great resource. But I just wanted to make sure everyone, if maybe she's not usually on here or whatever, so I just wanted to make sure everyone knows that Laura's on here with us to help us out.
Thank you, Megan, for doing that and also filling in our downtime. But also, Laura, I'm sorry I didn't introduce you. I knew you were coming today, and we're very, very grateful to have someone here who can speak from the patient side. So hang out and we will hear from you as well. Thank you, everybody. Welcome, Laura, for being here. And Matt, I see we've now got you able to share your screen. So take it away.
Awesome. Everybody can see that. That's great. Let me hide that. All right. So we'll start just really here again, kind of gave you a small background of Neuros, but we are here to relieve pain and restore life. That is ultimately our mission, and everybody at Neuros is so passionate about that. We're passionate about our patients, restoring their lives, making them better, improving the quality of life. And so we'll be discussing that topic today as well. But our core values, patients first. Everything we do at Neuros, we put our patients first. We strive to deliver excellence in every way, responsible ambition, and we want to inspire and empower. And so, as I mentioned, Neuros is a maker of the Altius. It's a direct electrical nerve stimulation system, a breakthrough technology designed to treat chronic post amputation pain. So we're going to look at two types and really what the Altius focuses on throughout this therapy. And so, what is chronic post amputation pain? Each person that we know, and you guys out there, I'm sure, know that everybody experiences this pain differently. Some on a daily basis, some on an annual basis, depending on the weather, right? And so we look at two types of pain. We look at the residual limb pain or stump pain found right there at the point of the amputation. And this could, again, be sharp, burning, electrical like. It could be really anything to different folks. So the next one, we look at phantom limb pain. And so everybody, I'm sure most of you guys are aware of this pain. It's the part of the limb that is amputated, not no longer there, but you still have that feeling, that sharp shooting, electrical like, dull squeezing, pinching. The list goes on, right? And so it's important to know that this pain can be constant, or it can come and go and be sporadic too. So the common how common is chronic post-amputation pain? So when we look at this, there is a significant unmet medical need. So until recently, treatments for chronic post-amputation pain have been limited and unreliably effective for this condition. We do know in our study, which I'm going to talk about, and so 80% of amputees may experience post-amputation pain. That's quite a bit, right? 44% of lower extremity amputees take opioids or other medications. And so the quality of life, that really impacts that, right? Those two combinations, the pain, the medications. So we look at, your sleep, your mobility, your mood, your relationships, even your prosthetic use, probably the most important, to be able to get around and be productive. And so our ultimate goal with Altius was to improve the quality of life. So we've got this breakthrough technology. We started. So I'm going to go over this, and so I'm going to show you guys the implantable portion. This is an implantable device. The typical procedure takes about 45 minutes to an hour. It's a day procedure, and it is considered very minimally invasive, for what amputation is considered. So we like to think if you've got a football field, one side of the end zone is having that amputation operation. That's the most really, invasive procedure that you could have is waking up and losing a limb. And so at the other end of the football field is the Altius implant. And so it's just an hour procedure, very minimal. Typically takes about a week or two to recover with very small incisions. But we've got this implantable device we call an implantable pulse generator. And so this, you guys probably can't see my screen, but it works like a pacemaker. There are millions of these in folks. And so the same, pretty much the same, very similar device to a pacemaker. And so that is implanted in the abdomen area for the most part. Most locations are in the abdomen area. And then we call what we have a lead that goes is implanted on your sciatic nerve. And so we go in, dissect the sciatic nerve, and put that cuff electrode. And so that is where the pulse generation comes from. And so we're cutting that signal off at the source. Again, nothing else like it out there when it comes to other, peripheral nerve stimulators. We'll talk about that a little bit. I'll touch on that today of how they differ. But most of what we do is considered high amplitude, high frequency, and it's on demand. So it's with the push of a button. So as you can see in this picture here, you've got the patient controller. It's 3 buttons. There are no contraindications to this device. As long as that patient can work 3 buttons, they're good to go. And so you've got an off button, and then you've got a dose 1 and dose 2. And so these therapies are 30 minutes at a time. And so after that 30 minutes, it cuts off that simulation and it locks it down. And that ultimately is just giving that nerve time to relax. And so after that 30-minute lockdown, you could do another therapy if you wanted. So ultimately you could do 25 therapies in a 24-hour day. And so there you see here in this picture is the charger as well. So pretty simple, very simple to use. I will say, wanted to go over some of these advantages for the Altius. And so really the these key things really stand out for us comparatively to others, other stimulations that are out there. It's effective, addresses underlying cause of chronic post-amputation pain. It delivers both rapid and lasting pain relief. We'll talk about that, but typically you'll get, a 30% reduction in pain after 30 minutes, 50% after 2 hours. And then when we look at like a 12-month period, most of those patients received, a decrease of 50% in pain on a daily basis. So it's non-toxic, nor is it addictive. So we like to say, you're pressing a button instead of popping a pill. So customized to patient specific needs. There's hundreds, probably thousands of different ways we can customize this. Everybody is different. Everybody experiences different pain, and so we've got ways, of programming that. And so from the activation to all these optimizations, it could take 3 or 4 or 5 times to get your settings right. But once you do, we do see a lot of improvement where that is. So very customizable to each patient, on demand, patient controlled. Obviously, you can turn it off whenever you'd like. It's easy to use. Like I said, it's got 3 buttons, and it's most importantly clinically proven for chronic post amputation pain. So that leads me to our clinical evidence. So we did a very vigorous study, and it ended in 2022 with 180 patients over 35 US sites. And so all of these patients throughout that 12-month period took an e-diary, and this is the information that we gathered. So just to show you from a patient demographic, the average was 58 years of age in this study. 60-40 ratio for male to female. Above and below knee amputations really was kind of a, in between, a 43-57. When it came to vascular disease, was 43% of the population, 41 was trauma, and 16% was other. So as you can see, kind of a wide variety there, right, in our study. The average pain duration and severity, most of those patients had pain for at least, the average had pain for at least 8 years. The daily worst pain that they had on a scale from 1 to 10 was a 9. The daily average pain that they had was a 6. And then the least pain was a 3. So most of them had some sort of pain on a daily basis. That being said, I think the most important thing to look at this slide is 47% in the orange there both had stump pain and phantom pain that was very bad. So at Neuros, we're really proud of this slide. 81% decreased in opioid use, and they did this on their own, on their free will. And so 70% cut their opioid use by 25% or more, 54 achieved 50%, and 35 stopped taking opioids altogether. And again, this was not something that we were looking at in the study. It's just something that happened. And so when we look at improvement in quality of life, 45% did have improvements, 44% increased their walking ability, 48 improved relationships, and 40% improve their ability to work. So obviously productivity is more. I can tell you from a statistic point of view, most of those patients had an increase of 5 hours per week in their prosthetic. And so that doesn't sound like a whole lot, but you can imagine what that, I mean, you could go to the store, you could mow the lawn, you could do so much in that 5 hour period in a week's time. And so those are really good statistics I wanted to point out as well. Lastly, I love the slide as well. 90% of subjects reported an improvement. So 42% was very much improved, 34 was much improved, and 13 was minimally improved. I think the thing to know here is really the zeros minimally worse or much worse. Nobody got, as far as went backwards, right? And so there was no change there, but it could only improve. So Looking at the Altius and how it affects across diverse patient profiles, I really like this slide. As I mentioned, it doesn't matter. The Altius works with above knee amputations and below. The causes really doesn't matter either, whether it's a disease or from trauma or any others. And so the pain, obviously, we talked about the phantom and residual pain as well, both cases there. And lastly, it's on demand. And so the pain duration, when it persists, you can use it. So it doesn't matter if it's constant or episodic. So the first steps, wanted just to tell
Hey,
you
Matt.
guys. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Sorry, we have a good question in the chat from Linda, and just before we get into all the steps, Linda
Sure.
was asking about what are the chances of triggering pain from the sciatic nerve. So do you just want to retouch on how Altius wraps around the nerve and just kind of give a little bit in depth of how being around the nerve can help it reduce the pain? Just touch
Yeah,
on that a little bit.
certainly, certainly. So how the direct stimulation works? We cut that those signals off at the source, right? So we know that the sciatic nerve it's the biggest nerve in your leg. It's really the biggest nerve in your body, and so we take that cuff electrode and it's wrapped directly around that nerve. So we're cutting those signals off to the central nervous system that goes to the brain right at the source. Um, and again, it's customizable, so we can we can turn that frequency up, higher, or lower, depending whatever the patient's needs may be. Hopefully that maybe kind of answered your question. But if not, we can certainly talk offline about that, and I can definitely go into more detail on that.
Thanks, Pat. Didn't want to throw you off, but just wanted to address the question.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's what we're here for. So, want to talk about the Altius journey, the first steps and what to take. Our team, obviously, we're national, and that's something that you guys, if you want to learn more, we can get you in touch with the right person. And so, we are here to walk you through every step of the way. It starts with a simple conversation, right? And just to educate you guys more on options or on this option for that matter. And so the first step, obviously, a simple conversation. The next would be a consultation with the surgeon in your area. And that really is to determine whether or not you have that neuropathic pain. So, obviously, for this device to work, you have to have neuropathic pain. It can't be musculoskeletal. And so, what we do to figure that out is we do a quick injection. It's kind of like getting a flu shot. And so, we're with you through that injection process. And so, we perform that under ultrasound, and so we take 2% lidocaine and inject it into the sciatic nerve, and ultimately this mimics the direct stimulation, right? And so if you receive 50% of pain or greater, if you have that 50% reduction in pain after 30 minutes to an hour, you're considered a good candidate for this device. And so this is our medical necessity too for reimbursement. It is covered for on a case by case basis for commercial pay and Medicare, Medicaid. But that being said, once you do the injection, this injection has been very, very beneficial, especially for prosthetics who we currently are partnering with. I'll give you a great example. We've got a patient that couldn't even put on a shrinker because her pain was so bad. And after the injection, she moved on to the implant, and within 2 sessions of turning on, activating it, she could wear a prosthetic and walk. And so there are big advantages to just the injection part of it. And um, some people, from a scale of 1 to 10, obviously you have to decrease. So you'd have to have at least say a 5, in pain when you go in that day, but you'd want to come down to a 2.5. to be a good candidate. And so that's kind of how that works. We are, again, with you the whole part of the way. There is no pressure after the injection. Should you move forward with the procedure, it's about a 45-minute day procedure. It takes typically 45 minutes to an hour. You're home that day. So it's like I said, minimally invasive. Um, Typically, the healing part, we want that nerve to make sure it's good and healed, and so we typically will wait 3 to 4 weeks to activate that once you get the implant. And typically it could take, we try to meet with you every month for the next 6 months to get that optimization, to adjust those therapy settings and make sure you're on your way. But ultimately, at the end of the day, we want to get you to where what you felt for the day of the injection. So that injection, it does help, it does decrease, but that only lasts about 6 to 8 hours. That's very temporary when you do the injection. And so we've had stories where just people just feel so great after that and haven't felt that way in so many years. And so that's where we try to get, for therapy purposes of the Altius, we want them to feel how they felt on the day of the injection, because ultimately it does mimic that lidocaine without the toxicities.
Matt, this might be obvious, but I'm gonna ask the obvious question. The
Yeah,
the injection screening is important as well, because if you don't have a reduction in pain, then that would suggest that the pain is coming from something else, like maybe a poor socket fit or tendonitis or something like that, right? That's another reason to have that injection.
absolutely. It could be musculoskeletal. And so and we've seen, to where it could reduce reduce like revisions. Obviously, so many amputees have surgery after surgery after surgery, and so it really does. It's a good tell. Is it neuropathic pain or is it musculoskeletal? And so this has been very advantageous for prosthetists as well, to
Yeah,
know
and
if they're struggling to get that fit.
got it. Now, I saw some other questions coming through in the chat. Keep them coming. We're going to get to the questions. But before we get to those, Matt, I'd love for you to tell us more about where people go to get more information and how they connect with Neuros.
Yep. Depending on the region, we've got folks all over, and the best way to do that is just to contact us, and we can tell you who is where in what area. There's a barcode here that I put up, and there's a form. There's a form to fill out there, or you can just email your information at info@neurosmedical.com as well.
Great, great. Now, what I'd like to do is go through some of the questions that we've received already, and then if we could turn to Laura and hear more about her personal experience. A
Yes.
couple of questions on who is and who is not a suitable candidate. So, for example, is this suitable for someone who is a hip dysartic amputee or someone who's a partial foot amputee?
Yes, so they would have to have, obviously below the knee amputation or above the knee amputation, and so it's got to get it's we've got to get have access to that sciatic nerve, right?
Okay.
And so that's a big one. That's a big one for us. What was the other question? I'm sorry.
Well, we're talking about partial foot or hip disarticulation amputees. Is this suitable for either one of them? It sounds like for our friends who are hip disarticulation amputees, probably not, because you need to have access to that sciatic nerve. Am I
Right.
understanding that correctly from the non-medical person?
Yep,
Okay.
absolutely.
Partial foot, does it depend on, again, your how your body responds and where that sciatic nerve is kind of going, or is that also a hard no for our partial foot amputees?
We have not done one on a partial, but I would say no.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So, but for our friends who are hip disarticulation amputees or partial foot amputees, stay tuned. We're going to have more of a conversation for all of you about what you can do for phantom limb pain. So this device is really focused on our below and above knee amputees, who are the vast majority of folks in the limb loss and limb difference community. Another question that I've seen here, which I was also wondering, is kind of again from the non-medical perspective, what happens with your limb? So if you're, since we're accessing the sciatic nerve, does that mean that you lose all sensitivity in your limb? Like, could you still feel pinching or heat, cold, any sensations at all? Or does it go to completely numb? Or what does that look like? or
I
feeling?
would say it's different for everybody,
Okay.
but no, it does not. You're gonna feel a tingling or sometimes a pinching for the therapy, right?
Mhm.
But ultimately, at the end of the day, it's blocking those signals, and so the more you use it, the better off long term you're going to be. And so, even if you didn't have sensations all the time, 100% of the time, some people do. Um, but the more you use it, the less signals. Obviously, those. Let me put it to you this way. So, when those nerves are severed, they still have a job to do, right? So they're firing, and so they're looking for their job to do. And so, what that stimulation does is it just kind of calms them down. And so, the more you use the therapy, the better off you're going to be down the road, and less likely you are to have those sensations, if that helps.
Okay, good to know. Now let me ask this final question, then I would love to hear from Laura, and we'll capture the other questions after we hear from Laura because she might answer some of them for you all.
Right.
What does the footprint look like? Where is this procedure being done? How many doctors? Do people have to travel somewhere? Like how does it work from the practical side?
Yeah, typically right now we're on the East Coast, Florida and Texas. We have a big presence. Ohio, um, I'd say Nashville. There's a few, and so we would just direct those patients to obviously their area, and talk to a specialist in their area. Once they decide to have that conversation.
Yeah, so if you all want to know more, even if you're not located in their state in particular, check the QR code, email, ask for information, go to the website. Megan's going to put all those links in the chat. We'll send them out with the recording as well and find out what options are available to you. If it's something that requires travel, keep in mind that here at Amputee Aid, we can help you find resources to travel if this is appropriate from you from a medical perspective and a personal perspective. Matt, what do you say we hear from Laura about her experience?
Absolutely
Okay.
excited.
Hi,
I
Laura.
will stop sharing. There we go. Oop.
Go. Okay, Laura, the floor is yours. Let's see if we can get you unmuted here. I'm going to send you a little thing to say unmute. Hopefully, you'll see that, and then we can hear your opinion. Hello, welcome to Life Amplified, and welcome to
Hi.
everyone. This is Laura's first
How-
time, hopefully not your last time. You can catch us every Wednesday at 2 Eastern time.
Okay.
Tell us from your perspective what the procedure is like, how it's changed your life, anything that you want to share with everyone.
Okay. Um, I became an amputee in 2016, and I was experiencing very bad phantom pain. My pain lasted mostly 24 hours a day, and I would get some relief. It would go down, a couple times a day to where I could sleep, and it was bad. So for 5 years, I was in a wheelchair. I tried prosthetic legs, and they did not. I kept blaming it on the prosthetic for a long time, saying it wasn't working. It's not fitting right. And after that 5 years, I came across a pamphlet in my prostheticist's office, and it was about the research program that was going on in my town. And I live in Dayton, Ohio. And I called and I made an appointment to speak to the doctor. And it just sounded like, I was desperate. I did not want to go on opioids. I did not want to go there. So I did not go that route. And I wanted to get some of my life back. I have grandchildren and children, and I couldn't really enjoy time with them because I was in too much pain. But I did come across the pamphlet. I got the injection, and my pain level that day was about a 9. And after the injection, it took it down to a 3.
Wow.
So I did qualify. And a month later, I was in the operating room and I had the procedure done. And I was in the study for a year. I began probably about using it about 8 or 9 times a day. And by the time of the end of that year, I was probably using it maybe twice a day.
Wow.
Then after the study was over, about over a year and a half time, and for the last 2.5 years, I have been pain-free. I am very lucky, but I have had no phantom pain for 2.5 years since I've had this unit. Now, do I want to have it removed? Absolutely not, because you never know when it could come back. I do have peripheral artery issues, so it could come back at any time. And I know I have the answer to that pain. My goals when I started to not, to have less pain, my first goal was to go to the ocean because I love the ocean. And around Ohio, there's no ocean. So we go down to Florida. We go down there every year. And I hadn't been there, in 6 years. And so we went down there, and with help, I was able to get in that water again. It felt so good. And I have been down there several times since with less and less help because I don't have pain anymore. And I'm fishing, I'm landscaping, I'm working in my yard, I'm doing housework, I'm getting my life back, I'm enjoying my family, I'm able to go to graduations. I've had several graduations in the last couple of years, my grandkids. And before, I wouldn't have been able to do that. I wouldn't have been able to get in those stadiums and walk up those stairs and get in those bleachers, Altius gave me my life back. And I can't, when they asked me about my story, I told them immediately, if there's anything I can do to help other amputees be able to experience this and get that relief, I will do whatever I can to help.
Yeah.
And they told me about this program, and I said, I want to sign up because it totally changed my life and it got my life back.
Amazing.
Now, I'm not saying that will work that way for everyone, but less pain is better than what you're going through right now.
Yeah. Laura, I
So,
saw a question come through in the chat, and I was wondering this as well, since you've had the implant. Can you feel it? It sounds crazy, but I'm wondering, can
no,
you feel it like moving around, or do you have to be sensitive when you're showering or bathing or anything, or can you feel like what?
absolutely not.
Okay.
Absolutely not. It's placed in an area. You can bend, you can go backwards, you can bend to your sides, and you don't feel it. You don't feel it. You don't feel the wire that goes down there. You don't feel the cuff. You don't feel any of that.
Laura, do you want to just explain pre-procedure, the conversation you have with your rep and your doctor about placement of the implant to make sure that you don't have to feel it? Just run us through a really short, brief summary about what that looked like for you.
Okay, where it is placed?
Yep, where the IPG is, yeah.
The battery is placed in the right part of my abdomen, the right lower part, like next to my hip bone. And the wire comes from that unit. It goes down around the hip to the back of I am a right leg below the knee amputee. So it goes down behind my thigh, and that cuff wraps around that nerve, and you have a few stitches there. I think there were like 3 stitches there, because they feed the wire. So you don't have an incision that goes like all the way down the back of your leg. The recovery was amazing. I mean, as an amputee, you judge everything, every other surgery with your amputation. And this was nothing compared to that. The only pain that I had was the stitches. And as soon as the itching of the stitches stopped, I didn't feel anything. I didn't have any discomfort or any pain.
Interesting. Laura, another question I was wondering about, and I saw it come through the chat as well, is because it is battery operated, how often have you had to like charge your battery or replace the battery in the 2.5 years that you've had the device?
Well, I do keep my battery charged.
Okay.
I charge it once a month to keep it, charged up in case I do need it. I charge it about once a month. If you're using your unit more often, you need to charge more often. Like once a week is good, maybe once every 2 weeks. During the study, I was charging it every week. As my pain got less, I did charge it less, but I advise people to charge it every week, every 2 weeks, while you're using it. So, and I do charge it every week.
Another question I've seen, and we had some people join a little bit later, so they might not have heard this part, but the implant itself, is it it's implanted into your body, or does it sit outside your body, or is it both?
It's right under the skin.
Right under the skin.
It's like a pacemaker. How they place it right under the skin. They do not go inside your abdomen area, like cut into the abdomen wall. They don't go there. It's just right underneath the skin.
Got it. The battery that you're charging, is it removable and you charge it separately, or do you have to
No.
sit next to your outlet and have a big long cord, or how does it work? People are asking, so I'm going to ask the question.
No, the unit is inside. It is placed inside. You don't see it. It's under your skin. The remote that you use to charge the battery, you saw in the presentation that Matt had, you take the controller and you just place it over the battery, and a green button will come on, a green light. And that means you've made contact and it activates. You push your button level, pain level 1 or pain level 2. Usually pain level 1 is a stronger signal, and 2 is usually a lighter signal. And it's all customized to every individual, as Matt was saying. You cannot feel it. The charging, I charge the charger that charges the unit. It is a plug-in, but it has a long cord. And I do say, you do have to sit down and you hold that paddle over the paddle that you saw in the presentation. You hold that paddle over the battery, the generator, and you hold it there. You can stick it inside your pants and have your pants just hold it in place. I've done that most of the time. I just have my jeans hold it in there, and you just sit there and it charges up, and you'll see by the indicator on the charger where it has 4 lights to it, and you want to charge up to the 4 lights so that it's fully charged.
There you go. I hope that answers the question for those of you who had it. So yes, you're not plugging yourself in like that scene from Christmas Vacation with just a giant old plug. Okay, so
no.
I can say
down in front of the TV, read a book.
Yeah, and Megan put a video in the chat for those of you joining us live on Zoom where you can take a look or save that link and see how it charges. Matt, I'm sorry I cut you off though. You had more to share.
I just want to say, as far as the battery life, we
Yeah.
say 10 years.
Yeah.
We've got a patient, I think, is now going on 15 and it's still working good. So it's about a 10-year that we have to say 10, something like that. So
yeah.
That's what is what it was designed to do.
And Matt, while we've got you, we saw some other questions come through. I'm hoping we can spend the rest of our time together going through some of those questions if you're okay with that.
Absolutely.
And Laura, thank you very much for sharing your feedback and input.
You're very welcome.
So rapid fire, okay? We're gonna try to get through as many as we can, but you all keep in mind, you can go to the Neuros website, click the contact button, and they will answer your questions as well. Rapid fire questions. Are you ready, Matt and Megan? First of all, if you're going in the airport through a metal detector, wherever you are, is this gonna go off through a metal detector?
It could potentially. That's why you have the card.
Got
and
it.
so you'd want to keep that card, similar like a pacemaker type.
Okay.
You have medical card.
How does this unit compare to a TENS unit?
Yep. So that's a great question. TENS unit, it's similar, but it's way different, if that makes any sense. So we work off high amplitude, high frequency. And so it's on demand. You can turn it on and off. But that's where there's no that nerve fatigue, if you will. If something is constant and it's always on, like a peripheral nerve simulator or a spinal cord simulator, that's really kind of how we differ from that. But I think the biggest thing that sets us apart is that high amplitude, high frequency, that we're able to do that from the nerve fatigue standpoint.
Now, let's say you have a patient who is like my grandmother, who was a bilateral below-knee amputee. Is a bilateral amputee, lower extremity amputee, are they potentially a candidate for this device? And if so, do they need two, one for both sides, or how does that work?
Right now, they would not need two. We've got a bilateral patient, and typically you've got two leads, one for one IPG, and so each cuff would go down on each leg. So one battery right now, and obviously as technology changes, things could change too. But yes, it's been done.
What about folks who have, and let me say before I answer this question or ask this question, and Matt, you answer it, please everyone talk to your primary care physician, your physiatrist, your entire medical team about what makes sense for you and what is healthy for you, because we are not giving anybody medical advice. Now that I've said all of that, Matt,
yes.
If you have a candidate who has a history of blood clots or other vascular issues, are they potentially a candidate for this device, or is there more an investigation that's needed or other support that's needed? What would you say about a patient who has a history of blood clots?
It's totally the importance of the consultation of that surgeon that's doing it. That is totally up to him at that point.
Okay, great. Okay, good to know. So please talk with your doctor. And if you have been out of care for a while and you need to get in contact with a primary care physician or find a new one, contact us at Amputee Aid so we can help you. Okay, I have one other rapid fire question, actually two. And then you all, if we missed your question, put them in the chat. We'll try to answer them and maybe keep you just a little bit longer than our regular scheduled time. Two last questions that I have for you, Matt, are number one, if you have a patient in Canada, are they potentially able to come into the United States to get this done?
That's a good one. I'm in Texas, so I'm so far away from Canada.
Yeah. Maybe.
That's something Megan might be able to help me out with, but
that would be a great example of a question to email us, because there's a lot of questions that we have to check different legal regulatory items on before answering. So that's a perfect example of we can connect with the people we would need to and get you that personalized response back. So,
and y'all, although we try to do things unscripted, we do often give some notes, and I did not ask them anything about our Canadian friends. I'm sorry to my Canadian friends. We will find out, though, is the short answer.
Yes, we'll find out.
Right now, Matt, the science is being used for our below knee and above knee amputee friends. Is there a potential that this science might be able to be used for upper extremity in the future? Like, is that maybe like a on the horizons for neuros, or can you not tell us, or what are your thoughts there?
There's certainly potential in the future for
Yeah.
that. Applications. I'm sure they've looked at that before. Right now, we are focusing only on lower limb amputee, just because the journey that Neuros has been from 2008, to get us where we are today with FDA clearances and reimbursement and things of that nature. We took that lower limb population because 80, yeah, I believe it's, yeah, 80% of those, are mostly of amputee population or lower limb extremity. And so that's kind of where we are today. But, in the future, hopefully things could
Yeah,
change.
stay tuned. Follow
Definitely
Neuros.
application
Check
for it.
out their website, get on their contact list, and stay tuned for that. Okay. One final question I have for you, Matt, and then I'd love for you to kind of wrap up with anything else that you would like us to know, or Laura, anything that you would like us to know, or Megan, you as well. Thank you for being so diligent in our chat. For folks who might have joined us midway through the presentation, they might not have been able to see what the Altius device looks like. Can you give us just a reminder of kind of how the implant works, how invasive it is, and where it's situated on the body for our below knee and above knee amputee friends?
Yeah. So typically, and I had a diagram to show you guys, but it's so the battery powered IPG sits right in the abdomen area, right above the waistline, and so we run a short lead. It's very soft. You will not be able to feel it. I don't know
Right.
that anybody has ever been able to feel that.
Mhm.
But we tunnel it right underneath the skin, all the way down, right above the popliteal crease, so right behind the knee bend, if you will. Um, and so that's where that sciatic nerve is, and that's where the cuff electrode is placed, right in the back of the leg there. And so that's typically from back of the leg to the waist is where everything ultimately is in the implantable
Mhm.
side of of the uh, of the device.
Great. And y'all, if you missed that early part of our conversation, check the links in the chat. There's some videos and other explanations and diagrams. You will also all receive a recording on Friday that shows all of Matt's PowerPoint presentation, and we will include a ton of links in there as well. The best and safest thing for you to do is contact Neuros. Contact them and just ask the questions. They're not going to charge you for asking questions, okay? So
Yes.
find out if it makes sense for you on a personal basis, or share this information with someone you know in the community who might benefit. Matt, as we're wrapping up our session with you, is there anything else that you would like to share with our group?
We certainly want to hear from you guys. The more people that reach out to us, the better. Our marketing team does a phenomenal job. We've got videos, we've got video cards, all kinds of stuff that can educate you more. Pictures are 1,000 words. So, like you say, the diagrams, things of that nature, how it works, YouTube videos. Please, you guys utilize those to educate yourselves, to make that informed decision. But our team is with you the whole step of the way. Again, very passionate about what we do. We love our jobs. We love doing this, and thank you so much for letting us come and share this. And
So much, Matt. I see all the emojis going up, and I can tell you from personal experience, Matt and his team are very accessible and approachable and easy to ask questions to. We've all had places that you've gone to and you're like afraid to ask a question, or you feel like you're one of a number of callers that day. They really are very easy to chat with, and you can ask any questions that you want. They're going to explain it to you in a way that makes sense, without giving you the car salesman approach, right? They're not trying to
100%.
sell you a device. They're
There
trying
is
to
no
answer the
pressure here.
questions,
Yeah,
right?
no
And that is
pressure.
what I love. That's why we wanted to have you on, is just share information, and hopefully it gives some inspiration for some people. But for our upper extremity friends, our hip dysarticulation friends, our friends who maybe they're not at this point candidates for, please keep in mind we have a ton of webinars about phantom limb pain. One we just did a couple weeks ago where we reviewed the documentary Phantom. We talked about tips and tricks for managing your pain, including acupuncture, diet, activities, meditation, desensitization techniques, the TENS unit that Mark had mentioned in the chat. Lots of options for you. If you want to go back on our YouTube page, just look for Amputee Aid on YouTube. You'll see the recording there. But also, heads up, in August, our theme for our webinars is back to school. Yes, back to school time already. We're doing 101 sessions every week in August, and we're going to have a pain management session. So, and of course, we will cross-reference what we learned here today with Matt and Megan and Laura from Neuro. So thanks, guys, from our Neuro team for being with us today. Thank you, everybody. If you have more
Thank
questions,
you.
we'll include all the contact information on Friday's recording. So let's kind of wrap up our sessions today. We have 2 more sessions left for July's Hot Topics season. Next week, everyone, we will have Koala here for our upper extremity friends. We're talking all things about adaptive devices, tools, super cool. We'll have guests from Koala with us for the entire hour. So whether this is you or somebody you know in the community, please come back and learn from them. We want to show some love to our upper extremity friends because we heard you loud and clear that we do not do enough content for them. So we will. If you are not an upper extremity amputee, come anyway, in part because we're doing a giveaway, but mostly because you know somebody who is and you can share the information with them. Okay, so please come back next week. The week after that, to close out our Hot Topics season for July, we will have Darren from Amputee here. We're going to talk about physical therapy from both a training and professional side, but also for all of you. That was also commonly requested, and we're doing a giant $200 giveaway that time. Okay, so if I can entice you with gifts, that's what I'm going to do. But hopefully I enticed you with knowledge, and we're grateful for folks like Matt and Laura and Megan for being here today. So thanks, guys. Okay, let's end with our giveaway.
Thank you.
With our giveaway, if you want to get in on this, Fontana, they sent us a bunch of candles. We're giving one away today. We'll do another one next week. Cozy cabin, kind of with the camping vibe for summer. Here's how we're going to do this. I'm going to write down a number. So you've got to be live on Zoom, okay? And Megan and Matt and Laura, you are eligible as well, okay, to join this. I would be too, but I can't do both, and because I really like this candle. I'm going to write down a number. You've got to be on Zoom if you want to participate. The first person to type in the number is the winner, and I'm going to tell you now. So everybody get ready. Okay, are we all ready? I hope nobody from the Pennsylvania Department of whatever lottery is watching, because I'm not sure if this is illegal or not, but we're doing it. All right, I wrote down my number on my notepad here. It's a number 1 to 20. So start putting in the chat what the number is. I'll tell you the first person to guess it. Keep going, keep going. Oh, wait, stop. Luis won. Luis won it was 15, everyone. Here you go. Look, I'm going to be honest. See that little 15? That's my 15. Okay. Luis, you won.
Jennifer, do it again because it's me. It's Lucho.
Lucho. Oh my gosh, it's my Lucho. You guys, that's Lucho. Lucho. Oh, now I gave the number. Okay. Lucho doesn't count. Sorry, Lucho.
Yeah, that's cheating.
But you're an employee. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna write down another one. I'm gonna do it 1 to 30. Okay, everyone. 1 to 30. Lucho, don't play. Okay, keep going, everybody. Keep going. Oh my gosh, it's so fast. Stop. Okay, stop. It's Candace. Candace won. It is Candace. I'm pretty sure. Let me check. Is Candace the first one to write 25? It's 25. It's 25. Let me check. I got to do the honor system here. I'm pretty sure it was Candace. It is Candace. Congratulations, Candace. You are the winner. Thanks, guys. We'll go back to doing a drawing next time, but I was not prepared, okay? So, Candace, I'm going to send you your cozy cabin candle. Next week, everyone, Koala will be here for the whole hour. Everyone asked for upper extremities content. We're doing it next Wednesday, and we're doing another giveaway for July's Hot Topics. Matt, Megan, and Laura, thank you very much for being with us and sharing some time with us for Life Amplified, brought to you by Amputee Aid. Everyone, it was lovely to have all of you back. This is really a highlight of our week, and I hope it's a highlight of your week as well. Until we see you next time, take care of yourself. Have a wonderful end of the week, a great beginning of next week. We'll see you back here next Wednesday, July 22nd, with Koala for July Hot Topic Season from Life Amplified. Bye, everybody. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.